Hello. You've probably noticed that in the last month, Google Forms has had an update in how we share our forms. This can be pretty frustrating. So let's go through what these updates look like and how can we maneuver around them or within them. So the first thing is to acknowledge that Google Forms is a great way to do a lot of different things in our classroom. If you are going to use assessments, so you are assessing student work, make sure grades 3 through 12, you are using formative. That's going to be the more effective way to gather that data for PLC work. Also, for those that use the locked quiz mode on Google Forms, that does not always work with the Chromebooks. That is a Google issue. That is not our issue. It's not our Chromebooks issue. Google knows that it's a problem. There's just no incentive for them to, there's not at least a big incentive for them to change it up. So if you're going to be using online assessment tools, formative for grades 3 through 12, that's going to be the best way to use an online, that's the best online assessment tool. Some other things that you can use Google Forms for, like why would I use it? So if you're getting some feedback from your students about how something went or how a unit went, or even how like your entire class, how did you feel about class? Some teachers use it for digital escape rooms or like a choose your own adventure activities, because you can modify how the form reacts to certain student responses. Some classrooms might use it for sign in or sign out sheets, book checkouts for classroom libraries, or checkout for other resources in the room. Permission forms sent home, check-ins on students, so especially with SPED students, like what is their progress, and any type of order forms. So if you're sending out, you're ordering shirts for the school, what size do you want, those types of things. That is what we would probably be more likely to use Google Forms for. So in the past, what it was is up at the top right corner, you would see the word send, you'd see that button, and when you'd click it, you could send it via email, so send in an email, or you could see it you could grab the URL and you could send it that way. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, everything was ready to go. However, that is not what it looks like now. Now, what you're going to see is you see that it says publish instead of send. The reason for this change is that when you are creating forms, in the old system, the form was always active. So even in the middle of you creating the form, if somebody got access to the URL, they could provide feedback, or they could fill it out. The other thing is that with this new publish, you can choose who it's published to, and it's much more secure. So especially if you're getting sensitive data, for example, like IEPs, this publish form is actually kind of nice because it super restricts who has access to it, as opposed to opening up the form to anyone who has the URL. There's also, it doesn't feel like it, but it's pretty fluid to stop the workflow and stop accepting, or the workflow is easier to stop accepting responses. So it's kind of nice. It doesn't feel nice right now because it's new, but it is. So what happens when I send the form? When I want to send the form? Well, you do click the word publish. Then you can decide who you want to be the responders. So right now, the form that I had up, you see that it is only published, the responders is anyone with an ISD832.net account. And that would have been the default in our previous form setup. That's how Google had it before. It's like it's an automatic thing right there. However, like I said, there's sometimes times when you don't want that to be the case. As it says here, if you click the word manage, then you have more options. So you go down here, like I'm the only person, right now I'm the owner. There's no one else that has access to this. Down here in general access, this is where you can start to maneuver and understand, like, what are the different ways that I can share things with people. Editor view is just like it was before, someone who can also make changes to the questions. So if you add some, right now it's restricted and it's only restricted to myself. You also have the responder view. So that's only people who will fill out the survey or fill out the form, not ones that will modify what the form looks like or asks. So typically you're going to be probably sending this via responder view. However, again, if you want to use this for a survey for a class that many people take or a unit that many people are doing, then you would do that editor view. But once you choose that, once you choose like the responder view, or if you want to modify that, you can decide if it is restricted, Mahtomedi Public Schools, anyone, or remove link. Remove link would be like you're like it's not you're making it so that no one can access it. So if it's restricted, that's good for small groups of people because you're literally going to list all of the individuals that you're going to share with this. If it is Mahtomedi Public Schools, that means anyone with an ISD83T2.net email address will be able to fill this out. Students, staff, anyone with an ISD832.net account. Anyone with a link means anyone in the Mahtomedi Public Schools or outside of it can fill this out. So it'd be good if you're sending things home so that the adults in the students' lives can fill this out. So you can decide how you're going to use this. So I'm going to go the route of the restricted. When I click restricted, I can click up here to add their name. I added Allie here. And I can choose if she's a responder or an editor. Okay, so responder or editor. I want Allie to respond to this form. So I'm going to keep it as a responder. Then the last step is I can click publish and notify. So that means that it's going to be published to Allie and she's going to get an email notification. If I did forget someone, I wanted to add someone else, I can click manage and I can add people that I may have forgotten. Like, oh, Allie's not the only one that needs to fill this out. It's someone else. I forgot to put them on there. Click manage and add them just like I did Allie. So once you click publish and notify, you will see on the top corner where it did say publish, now it says published past tense because you have published this now. If you see this, if you see published, it means the link is now active and people can respond to the form. So you should be getting responses. These images, you might say like, well, it's easier to just grab the link and send it. This link listens to the rules that you have established before you published it. So remember, you could choose restricted, Mahtomedi Public Schools.832, anyone with link, or remove link. So if I had published this link and it's restricted to just Allie, and then I sent it to someone else, they're not going to see that. Instead, what they're going to see is, you don't have access. Would you like to ask for access? So this link is just an easy, quick way to say, oh, Allie didn't get the email, or she deleted the email on accident. Well, I'll just grab the link and send it to her immediately. You can also quickly add people if you had published it, but you're like, oh man, now I want to add other people. I forgot they need to fill it out as well. Click the add person, add people button, and you can do that process. If you click the word published, click that button. That's where you can accept or stop accepting responses. So for example, here I clicked published. So then it's giving me these options that I have. So right now, Allie filled it out. I know that she filled it out. I want to stop accepting responses. Click it. So now Allie can't fill out another response because any other reason. So I can just, this would also be good for students. So like when you are eliciting feedback from them on something that happened, or a choose your own adventure, any type of activity. If it's done for the day, click click this button off so that you're no longer accepting responses, and now you don't have to worry about it. That is the end of this. And if you have other questions about how this is managed, please let me know. I'm happy to help you. I know that it is a little bit different, but it is overall, it's more secure, especially for those times when we're using secure data. So thank you. Happy Google forming.